Hello. Hello. Nice to see you. To see you, nice. Happy Sunday. I hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday. I was forced to be on time today because I couldn't get my waiting loop to work. Maybe it's a good thing. It forces me to being on time. But I don't have my head plugs. I'll find them when I need them. Yeah, it's nice to see you. I hope you've had a good couple of weeks since I last saw you. There's been so much satsang online that I really didn't feel like any urge to do anything extra. I just feel like that you're saturated in it, which is really beautiful. And yeah. So even though last week I didn't make it, I didn't feel to do another stream. I'm currently writing a book at the moment, and this is taking up all my attention. I've been writing all day. I've been writing all weekend, and I enjoy it so much. So while everybody else is doing all the satsangs, I take a break and write my book. Yes. So if this is the first time that you've ever been live to my live stream, I would just tell you a couple of things of how it works. Normally I do half an hour of silent sitting, and then after the silent sitting I do an introduction, and then after the introduction I take questions. And you can either write to me on Skype, and my Skype address is LisaCairns12. You can see that in the box below. Or you can call in on Skype. But it's better. But if you could send me a message saying, please call me, because I'm ahead of you, so it never works. If you think, oh, I'll call when she has a moment of silence, it's not my moment of silence. So if you could call me. And I think today I'm going to try and do some calls rather than written questions. I would like that. So I invite you, if you feel like speaking to me, to say, call me. I normally just do written questions. Or it's not that I normally just do it, it's just what seems to happen. Yeah. I do these talks every Sunday at 6 p.m. French time. I used to do them Sunday and Wednesday, but I stopped doing them on Wednesday till further notice while I'm writing my book. So always check my website to make sure I'm doing a stream before a stream. I try to put a message up on my YouTube channel when I'm not doing one, but it's not so simple because, believe it or not, I don't like YouTube, so I don't have any YouTube apps. So I have to download the app, sign in, which is really simple, except I have like authentication. So it just takes a little bit of time for me to do it. Or did you try to do that? Okay, we can just go into silence now. It got dark. Who'd have thought? I'm just going to go and open the curtains. 1 moment. Hello, I think the internet's better now. I forgot to switch internet, but we are good to go now. So what was the title again? The title was, Does the concept of non-doer-ship matter in non-duality? To be honest, nothing really matters. That title, I just gave that title as a little bit of juice to get us going. Does it matter? Nothing matters. I don't think that you have to understand the concept of non-doer-ship in order for this energetic shift to happen. In this moment right here, to beingness, to consciousness, to what we truly are, from the absolute perspective, it's irrelevant, non-doer-ship or doer-ship. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely relevant. In this moment, whether your action comes from a separate individual or from life itself, doesn't even come into play. That's a concept which you think about in time, which is okay to think about that in time. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not the way things are. This moment is free of any concept. It doesn't care. It doesn't care about good or bad or right or wrong, or having or not having, getting or not getting, trouble or not trouble, just free to be as it is. It doesn't even make sense, concepts here. So there's nothing to make sense of it. It's the brain that makes sense of concepts. And what's happened is that you've become identified with thoughts that are produced by the brain, with images that are produced by the brain, and feelings, I suppose, that are also produced by the brain. And there's been an identification with that and a story made about you and that that's who you are. Whereas that's not really who you are. Who you are is this moment. It's beyond concept. It's beyond knowledge. It's beyond something. And it's only here. It's not something you can arrive to. It's not something you can get. It's not something you had. It's not something you remember. It's not something you can buy. It's just here. Just now. The mind enjoys the intellect. It's not even the mind, but there is lots of pleasure that can be produced by the intellect. So if you have a good story, it can produce really nice feelings and experiences. And if you have a negative story, it can produce really painful and ugly experiences. And there is an enjoyment, there is a seeking for the good experiences. But it's actually not what you want. You don't want anything that's transitory. No, I forgot how to say that word. That's transient. I sometimes have a lot of comments about my mispronunciation of words. It's actually because I have an area in my brain which doesn't process words properly and sounds properly and connects them all. So I mispronounce words and say things wrong. And I actually think it's a really beautiful area because it doesn't keep me too contained to words. I feel like if I stopped speaking for a year, I would begin to forget language. But it means that I struggle to pronounce them and remember them and get them in order. I sometimes get my sentences back to front. But just so you know why I'm saying my words wrong and that it's not something that can be repaired. I can't go into my brain and I don't want to go into my brain and fix that area. So imagine now, you're not speaking from a place. I'm not speaking from a place. It just seems like that. So it seems like every action you do, everything you say, every movement you do comes from a person which you're imagining going through time. But actually in this moment, when you really come back down to what's happening now, everything is appearing from this moment and disappearing into this moment. And there's not actually somebody speaking. Even though we say, I speak, I am speaking, that's not actually the truth. That's just the way our language works. It's just the way in which we communicate as human beings, but it's not actually true. So I have a dog who apparently has a brain the size of a walnut, but I've never opened up a dog's brain to actually have a good look. When she's barking at the neighbour's cat, she doesn't sit there and think, I am barking at the neighbour's cat. I am a bad dog for barking at the neighbour's dog, at the neighbour's cat. She might see me coming and be like, ooh, mustn't do it, ooh, and go and hide. But when she's in the action of it, she doesn't think, firstly, that she's barking at the cat. Secondly, that she's barking at a separate independent entity. She's not inside her like, oh God, the poor cat, how must the cat might feel. So she doesn't imagine herself to be someone, and she also doesn't imagine the cat to be somebody. That from both ends there is nobody speaking to nobody. Because how would she imagine that? If she doesn't have language, how does she imagine herself as a dog? So we imagine herself as a human. So you then think, oh, she imagines herself as her image, but if she looks in the mirror, she doesn't recognize herself. She doesn't know that what she sees in the mirror is her reflection. She hasn't got that capacity in her brain, so her experiencing is very simple. There's obviously thinking there, but it's not thinking in language because she doesn't know language. She maybe knows some words from me. So she's not concerned that she's doing it and concerned that she's upsetting. Although if I come out, her body has a response because it's trained to know that I don't approve of barking at the cat, so she'll quickly. Although that's not actually true because I don't care if she barks at the cat. I don't want her to catch the cat, but I don't care if she chases the cat out of the garden. It's just a hypothetical example. So what does that mean? Well, it comes back to doer-ship. Even though I'd forgotten the title was about doer-ship, it does actually come back to doer-ship. So it means that you aren't the doer. That sentence is actually irrelevant right here. But when we think about it in time, we can realize in the timeline that you're not the doer. This can be very relaxing because there's a lot of psychological mistakes that the person makes and forms, primarily being, I am the doer. I am somebody that has choice and free will, and then it suffers because of its actions, or it suffers because of its neighbour's action. So what happens when you begin to live a lie, when you begin to live as a separate person? You build up all these false ideas which feel really real to you. That I am a doer, I'm interacting with people, they're the doer, they're good, they're bad, I'm good, I'm bad, this should happen, this shouldn't happen. And you build up this whole fantasy world that's not really happening, and it becomes real to you, it becomes truth. And what is your home, who you truly are, becomes forgotten. It's covered by this other stuff. And you could say waking up is that cracking open, seeing beyond the dream of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, experiences, and believing that that is a separate entity or body. And that that's who you are. You're not a person sitting listening to me now. And your problems aren't in the flow of life. So maybe you think your problems are because of money worries, because of your partner, because of what happened, because of your kids, because of what's going to happen, because you made the wrong choice, because you haven't got non-duality. And all of this is a lie. None of it's true. Your problems are simply because you're disconnected from who you are. And that disconnect happens by believing that you are a limitation and that you are a person that goes through time. The other big illusion that arises for many is the idea that they are going to get enlightened, and one day they're going to sit on the throne of being enlightened. But who gets enlightened? Who? I'm certainly not enlightened. You can give that badge to someone else. I mean, you don't want that title. Because who would be enlightened? Who would have achieved something and claimed something? That can only be a story going through time. On my website, I tell a story of an experience, but even that's so far away now. It's like a distant dream. All we have is right now, this moment. And everything else that comes before is fiction. But we don't think that, we think it's fact. We think our life is fact, our society is fact, our friends is fact, who we are is fact, our bank's balance is fact. And we think that life is happening logically. But science is beginning to prove, they're on the cuffs of proving, sort of like the very start line of proving, that more than likely reality is determined by that which looks at reality. So if you believe in limitations, then that's what you'll experience. If you believe in suffering, then that's what you'll experience. And then you could say, who is it that's believing? It's the brain that's believing, obviously. So it's the brain that's producing particular filters. And then beyond that, it's consciousness that's creating. You could actually say it's beyond consciousness. It's mystery that's creating. It's something which is not known, which is creating everything. But that's who you are. That's the most intimate sense of being. That can often sound really removed. It's actually what's here right now in this moment. That's that which is looking out. It's that feeling of being. That is God. That is the divine. Most of the time what people want is they want experiences of being free for them. Like they want to be free. They want to know non-duality. And this is missing the whole point, because the you isn't a fixed thing. There isn't someone called you that can get to non-duality. There isn't someone called you that can have it. Who is this I that you believe yourself to be? In every moment there is experiences appearing, but there isn't a solid you that can get to non-duality. It feels so real though, and the person's like, yeah, but, who? Who is this person? And the reason that it wants to get something is because it feels uncomfortable. And it believes if I get enlightened, if I get to non-duality, I'll stop feeling uncomfortable. But it can't see that that is the illusion, that you can never get to freedom, that you are freedom right here, right now, this presence, this I am and this empty looking, or this everything and nothing. I think that's all I have to say. I will take some questions now. So if you'd like to have done that for a while. Hi Lisa. I'm very happy to have found you. Your videos in the internet, I like your conversations very much. Emotions tell me it's been a long time since I've known you. It seemed like I've known you for thousands of years. Hi Lisa, what is the meaning of life? You've known me for thousands of years as the I am and presence. But it's not even thousands of years, it's just infinite, like without time. Hi Lisa, what is the meaning of life? I've read several books about awakening, but seems they are not going to help me. I don't know what the meaning of life is, because meaning is a concept that we as humans have made up. And so therefore, as we've made it up, so as it's come from fiction, and humans weren't the creator of life, like humans were a creation of life, then surely we can't really ever find out the meaning of life, because meaning isn't a real thing. Meaning is something that we make up, and the way that we look at the world. It's not a fact. So I think that you're looking in the wrong direction. I think that you need to discover who you are as presence. And then in that, it is content. It no longer looks outside of itself for meaning, for purpose, friendship, love, contentment. It knows itself, and it is complete in itself. Thank you for your question. Hi Anik, I'm so happy with the videos you post. One after another, so meaningful. Thank you, Lisa. I love you, Anik. With pleasure. Anik, I don't think it's me that's posting the videos. Just in case you don't know, there's another channel called Lisa Cairns Video Clips, and it's by a gentleman called Osborne, and he posts videos every day. It's really beautiful that he does that. So if you didn't know that, then you can subscribe to his channel. It's associated with my channel, and he does it on Facebook as well. Hi Jason, nice to see you. Hi Wesley. Hi Lisa. This is from Wesley. I hope you're well. I'm increasingly finding presence, Sach Chitananda, to be home, that this is the ground of being. Somehow I notice that this too, subtle and clear as it is still an experience. If I fell backwards, so to speak, and can sense a dimension prior to the sense of I am, hard to express in words. I asked one teacher about this, and he said this is called Pranya Paramita. I Google searched prior to Satchit Nanda and found a passage of Nisargadatta, and he refers to this as Para Atman. I find that there is simultaneous awareness of all these levels, from surface reality to the dimension prior to awareness. Do you have any thoughts on this, Lisa? Thank you. I actually have Pranya Paramita tattooed on my arm. Pranya Paramita. I don't even need to bother to teach this, that this is something that everyone discovers as when they have awakening, and when they really look into the I am. I don't think of it as prior to the I am. I think that this is a form of sexism. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't think that I think that life and that emptiness are two sides of the same coin. And I don't think that you can really say that emptiness is prior to everything. So I mean everything as the I am, and I mean consciousness as nothing. But you could say nothing and everything. Like, consciousness really disappears when you contemplate it. It's just that everything is conscious of itself. And how can you say that nothing is prior to the I am when nothing is the I am, when nothing is everything? That the nothing is appearing now as all things. I sometimes feel that this is slight elitism in non-duality. Like people like to argue about these subtleties. Doesn't really matter. And who would know it? So who would know beyond the I am or not beyond the I am? It's always a thought in time. Like it is the way it is, emptiness appearing as everything. Thank you for your question. Hi Nick. Bonjour, ça va? Ça va bien, merci. Hello Izzy. Oh, that's pretty. Like the colours. Hi Richard. Hello, I am Richard in Oregon. I have been following your live stream for years. Lots of doing. Love. Oh, nice, Richard. Hi Thomas, good to see you. Nice to see you. Hi Michaela. Hi Lisa. May you answer my question, please? Is it possible that meeting certain people or beings at a certain place always activates the thinking mind and feelings of Is it possible that the meeting of certain people or beings at a certain place always activates the thinking mind and the feeling of uncomfortableness in the body again? Why is there this turning back from impersonal sense of I am to the thinking mind when being together with certain people? Is it because of the other person? I think that you don't need to think about this. I think that there can be uncomfortableness and freedom at the same time. So you can be uncomfortable in humans' company, and there can be the freedom at the same time. And that you don't really need to work it out and find a solution. What's important is presence and not being fooled by illusion. So you could be being fooled by illusion, that the stories come up and then you believe them and you go into a person and go into time. And if that happens, then you can just examine the stories and see that they're not true. Even though doing that gives you the appearance of doer-ship, there isn't actually someone doing that. That's a program that can be played. And that's very relaxing. It's not relaxing when you're doing it, but overall, through time, it's relaxing. I think a lot of human interaction is based on seeking. I think there's a lot of human interaction that isn't, but most of the time I would say that when people are interacting, they're seeking to get something from the other in a certain way. And that's never very comfortable to interact with. And the same if you are seeking to get something from the other. These two dynamics are uncomfortable because you're living a lie. You're living the idea that somebody in time can give you home. And they're also projecting that on you, that you can give them home, whereas really neither of you can. It's bullshit. It's a fallacy. And then it perpetuates seeking because then you look to them to behave a certain way, to say the right things, to be nice, to be comforting. It could also be empathy that you're feeling for that person, like you're picking up on that person's feelings, but again, that's not your suffering. Your suffering is when you believe those feelings, when you take them to be true, and then you seek to try to rectify them in time. Thank you for your question, Michaela. Hi, Dennis. Hello, Lisa. Much love from Dennis in Kentucky. Louisville. We can talk if you want. Okay, Dennis. Let me get my headset. Just have to do a couple of things. Black hole. Black hole. I'll just read another question while I wait for Dennis to call. This is from Louis. Hi, I have a question related to the title of non-doer-ship. I've experienced non-duality from when I was a teenager for months. I remember the world was intimate. The objects were shining in aliveness, and I knew that even a sound of a car passing on the street was inside of me, though there were no world outside of experience. It was just recently that I realized that I had lost it in my life. My wife, when I exposed the understanding I had about reality, said that this understanding is for people who have no responsibility, not for me who now have children. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
I didn't know how to hit the button to make it work. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's the first time I've called in ages.
Yeah. That's okay. It's working now. Let me just make sure it's going into my desktop.
So cool. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Perfectly.
Good. Well, I didn't really have a question, but since I sent you that little note, I made a list of about 10 things we could talk about.
Okay.
First one is the reason I put in there from Kentucky is that you've tried Louisville, Lousyville, Vile, Louis, all kinds of things. So Kentucky's the easiest way.
Yeah, sorry.
And the way they say it here in this town, they call it Louisville.
Oh, yeah.
Louisville.
Louisville.
That's it. Let's see. I want to ask you about this word you said a while ago that's tattooed. I wrote it down as Papa Ya Me got a tattoo.
Huh?
Well, the thing that's tattooed on your arm.
Oh, Pranya Paramatar.
Well, I was close. What is that?
Prajnaparamita is a Buddha, a female Buddha in Buddhism. I mean, this is how I know her. I'm sure that people have a different interpretation, and she's the Buddha of wisdom.
Oh, wow.
You could say that she's like the Buddha of like emptiness in a way, if you wanted to put it into non-duality terms. Like, so her sutra is all about emptiness, and they call that wisdom.
She would be Sophia in Christianity then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well,
and that's why the other gentleman who was asking about it, about emptiness being the source, and that's why she came up. It's because she has something called the Heart Sutra, which is really beautiful because it's like she's a female. She talks about like wisdom, which is emptiness. So it's kind of like in Hinduism, it's Shiva. It's a male that talks about emptiness. And so she's the female, and her sutra is called the Heart Sutra. So it's the Sutra of the Heart. So I think it's such a beautiful combination that you have this female image that's speaking about wisdom, and yet it's also called love, and it's such a beautiful sutra. I do have it here in my documents. I could read it to you in a moment if I can find it. The problem is I'm not always very organized with my documents. I don't know if I've labeled correctly or not. The heart, where would I have put it? Just one moment, I just look. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I've labeled it correctly to be able to find it. Yeah, I don't think I can find it. Just let me check one more folder I have.
Okay.
God, it's amazing how much rubbish you begin to store up in your computer.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to find it. Let me just see. I'll just type it in search. The Heart.
The Heart Sutra, is that what you're looking under?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Heart Sutra. There's lots of different translations. So yeah, but I haven't got it. I can't find it.
That's okay, because I don't even know what a sutra is.
Oh, I've got it.
No.
Oh God, it's a whole study book about it though. No, I haven't got the simple. I've got a whole study book. Yeah, no, I haven't got the simple Heart Sutra. Yeah, sutra is just like for her sutra is like a poem, and it's just like her truth. So each bodhisattva or Buddha normally has like a sutra that goes with them, and some of them can be like books, and not books, like is it called prose? Yeah, some could be prose, and then some can be poems. It's all different layouts.
Any of them? Yeah, or any of them music?
Normally, each. So what I've got written on my arm is her her song, or her forget the words. That it's her. So it's something that you chant at the end of the sutra. It's I forgot, like her mantra or something. Maybe they call it a mantra. Yeah, and that can go to music, so you can find that on the internet. And it's goes something like gate gate paragate paragati swaha.
Gate what?
Paragate gate paragati paragati saha, something like this. Like maybe I'm getting it wrong. This is
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's enough for me to get today. Thank you, sweetheart. You were so good.
Our pleasure.
I did
Nice.
have one other note
Yeah.
sometime in the future, and this was from a question I'd asked you a while back that maybe someday we could talk about silence.
Yeah. That was a
I
joke,
enjoy
right?
your silence. I
Oh,
enjoy your silence. Thank you so much.
yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Dennis, for calling. Yeah. And thank you for bringing up the Pranya Paramita. She's so beautiful if you ever feel to look her up and her sutra.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Paula. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for your sharing. How not to believe thoughts, because the one who is trying not to believe them doesn't exist. If you don't know who you are, what is there left? All you can is to witness this struggle, this mind activity trying to figure it out. I can't find a sense of peace in witnessing. It feels so frustrating. Thank you. Can you bring clarity to this? Hey, Paula. Thank you for your question. So the reason that you can't find peace in who you are is because you're focused on the story of who you are rather than what you truly are, which is this moment. And when the person is really contracted and uncomfortable and seeking, it can't hear that. And maybe it hears it at moments in music, in poetry, when it's lost in doing something, when it's laughing. But most of the time, it's seeking for something in the future or trying to get away from something in the past. So what often happens when there is an exploration of this subject, there is an undoing of the illusory person. So a lot of non-dual concepts are about undoing the clusterfuck of the person that's been grown. Because the person's begun to grow like many false ideas and illusions. So an illusion is like that you choose, that you're the doer, that you're not the doer, that you can do something, you can't do something, that it's their fault, that it's your fault. And none of this is true. So listening to non-duality and working with someone that helps you explore your feelings and your body, so you get to see what your body and your mind is doing. So normally the reason that you're producing negative stories is because your body and your thoughts are in the negative. So your chakras are in the negative. And then your thoughts are in the negative. And it's just seeing that and asking them what they want and seeing what they're up to. So say now if you're feeling fearful, just as an example, you'd go and explore where that fearfulness is, knowing at the same time that there isn't actually someone that's doing it, that that's a program that's playing out. And so maybe you'd find that fearfulness in your guts, and then you say, what are you feared about? And maybe when you come down to it, like at first you're scared of your boyfriend, or you're scared of your girlfriend, or you're scared of going to work, or you're scared of your money, or your bank, or whatever it is. And then when you get underneath that, when you get deeper into it, you realize that what you're afraid of is just being alive. You're afraid that something's going to come and hurt you. And then you see that and you notice that and you ask it, like, what does it want? It wants security. And then you could imagine giving it security. This is healing the chakra and putting it on more balance. And then every time that feeling happens throughout the day, you notice it and then you give it the opposite energy. And this is such an amazing practice that seemingly takes time, but it will begin to shift everything. And then as the body-mind settles down, its illusions and its lies, which is a person doing it, so it is the person healing itself, then there can be something else that begins to be heard that's not personal, something that's really miraculous, that who you are is this moment, and that everything that's ever happened and everything that's going to happen is this moment speaking. And nothing bad can happen to you because everything is this moment, everything is yourself, everything is present. So beautiful. All there is this moment, and it's a happening. It's a happening. It's a happening. Yes, Khaleesi. You good girl. There was somebody else that I went to answer. Lewis. So I was in my wife, when I exposed this understanding I had about reality, said this understanding is for people who have no responsibility, not for me who now have children, have work every day as a software engineer and deal with complex work, mathematics and business relationships. My question is it possible for me to live in that place again, even with my actual position in society? Thanks, Lisa. I would say that there is nothing which can cage you. So you can be in prison, you can be forced to do really terrible things. You can be working all the time. And nothing is your prison. Non-duality is freedom beyond what's happening in life. So yes, the answer is. However, what often happens in workplace and in jobs and with kids is that there's lots of seeking energy around that. And so sometimes there seemingly has to be, in the program, a deconstruction of that seeking or an examination of that seeking. Like, what are you trying to get away from, or what are you trying to get to? So maybe I haven't told this for a long time, so we'll just talk about seeking for a bit. So when the baby is really young, there is no seeking. There is just pure beingness, this pure witness and aliveness. And the baby doesn't think, I'm a baby inside this body, woohoo! It's just experiencing and responding. And it can't think, these are my hands, this is my nose. In 10 years' time, I'm going to be top executive at Nike. It just is, it's experiencing. And when it feels pain, it cries. And when it feels pleasure, it giggles or laughs. And it's very simple. And then at some age, like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years old, a seeking arises. And the way that seeking arises is when the baby identifies. As soon as that baby identifies with being the body, it begins to live something which is not true. And as soon as it begins to live something that's not true, it never feels right. So like say if you lied about something now, it never quite feels right. For some people it does, but for most people it doesn't. And that at 3 or 4 years old, when this baby identifies, it feels like there's a stone in your shoe, like it's not quite right. And as soon as that feeling of not quite right comes, naturally what begins to happen is there begins to be a seeking to put things right again. But the baby doesn't realize what the problem is, that there's been an identification with an illusion. The baby begins to look inside the illusion for a solution. So it begins to look in what it does, its behavior, itself, its body, its senses, its thoughts, its feelings. And it begins to try to manipulate all of that in order to find that relief, that it remembers that love, that relaxation. And what happens in waking up is the remembering of that place, remembering that your essence is non-dual. So non-duality isn't so much about a personal awakening. Like often the person goes through shifts and changes, but it's not about that. It's about an impersonal awakening. It's really non-comprehensible to the brain in the end. So you start out small, so you learn all these concepts, you learn all about non-duality, and you learn what you're not, and then the person does all these emotional release techniques, it learns about its emotions, its chakras, and the person breaks down over the years. But in the end, it doesn't make sense how it happens. You can't logically think, because I go to work, that takes away non-duality, or because I don't sleep enough, it takes away non-duality, or because I don't earn enough money, it takes away non-duality. Nothing takes away non-duality. And it doesn't make sense. And also the way this life works doesn't make sense. Again, that's the person trying to predict, like, if I work, I'll end up with lots of money. If I do this, I'll end up successful. If I do it like that, I'll end up successful. And this isn't true. It works on such a different level to what we imagine it to be. And we're always trying to manipulate that which we don't understand. Thank you, Lewis. Hi, Jose. Hello. So, hi Jose, hi Lisa. It's a pleasure to see you again. I have a question. How do you relate with material objects? I mean, in my case, I notice when I see any objects, I can know the useful information, but it's normal to see past or future related to any objects, or when the entity disappears, these kinds of thoughts never come. I don't know if any type of thought means there is some suffering in you, because I don't feel like that, but I feel they are not normal. Thanks so much. Thoughts are just thoughts. You'd either have pleasurable thoughts or negative thoughts. And it tends to be that people are very unconscious, tend to be more attracted towards negative thoughts. And if your chakras are in the negative, then it'll be negative thoughts. And if you're more open and expanded, then they'll tend to be more pleasurable thoughts. But thoughts are just thoughts. They're not true, pleasurable or painful. They're not truth. They come and they go, and they can't really depict reality. They're kind of like a perspective on reality, which is always changing. This is the impossibility of what the human lives in, because the human believes it's a thought, even though it doesn't even think that, but it is. It believes I am a thought, I am a name, I am my age, which is all thought made. I am English, I am whatever. And then it tries to hold on to those thoughts, whereas thoughts are simply comparisons to other thoughts which give an impression. It's like art of what we're speaking about, and everyone interprets it differently. It's not a fixed thing, but we think it's a fixed thing and we think it's real, and the most solid thing that we think there is the illusory I, me. Me. Me, 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 me. Hi, Anna. Hi, Lisa. I love your intro. There is a fresh feeling of intimacy and love, beautiful for no one and so wide. Thank you. And to be honest, a slight fear of losing this beautiful state, even if it's just thought and nothing can be lost in direct experience. Oh, nice. Yeah, nothing can be lost. It's just thought. It comes in and it's like looking for something to do. I need something to do. And so fear always gets a reaction. So it's like, fear. Hi, Canal. Dear Lisa. It's like agony aunt. Dear Lisa. Write to Lisa. I'm an agony aunt. Khaleesi's waiting for her dinners. Every time I move too directly, she's like, coming from her hello. Very appropriate. Have a lick of the ass, Khaleesi. Dear Lisa, I sit here like an intrigued puppy, staring intently at your satsang, trying to figure out what you're saying. I realize that I might never be able to conceptualize the infinite. What you are doing, however, is far more beautiful. Your words are breaking away the pillars of my mind, and not even my mind, but the apparent mind that this life energy has entangled itself with. As my mind fails me, life energy pours back into aliveness, and throughout this play all is witnessed. God bless your work as such, and may your grace continue to sink deeper into my heart. Well, that's beautiful, Kunal. And I think that's really the best way to use me as a speaker. It's like you get some speakers that are really great at intellectual clarity, and that's beautiful and that's got its place. But I think that I'm really an energy speaker, and it's about tapping into my energy. It's not so much about the words I say, even though the words play a part. But in a way, it's like what's happening here is love, which you could say is emptiness or nothing, communicating with love of nothing, which is that as well. So it's love coming backwards and forwards. But it's not a personal thing. It's not Lisa, this body's love. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Lisa. Thank you, Canul, for your last message. That was really beautiful. It touches my heart. Really, it's like... Oh, hello, Khaleesi. Hello. This is her wanting her dinner now. Oh, yes. Hello. You can't have your dinner. I, like most other teachers, don't have somebody helping me. I notice when all these teachers are online, they've all got their helper. And I've got you, Khaleesi. I've got you. I got Khaleesi. I'm not sure if she is the helper, though. I'm not sure if she's the helper or the distractor. But I don't sub someone that can come and feed you now, or take over the talk, or read the questions. No. Go on, lick the camera. Go on, lick your speakers. The listeners. Go on, give them a kiss. Kiss, kiss. Kiss, kiss. Kiss, kiss, easy. Kiss, kiss. Kiss, kiss. Kiss, kiss. She's all shy. She's all shy. All shy. She is God. So what the mind does is the mind thinks, okay, she's got to speak about non-duality. But if you really listen, you can hear that same love when I'm talking about Khaleesi, who's now more than likely not going to stop bogging me until I feed her. Dug, 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 dug. You can hear it. You can hear it in people's voices. Like, you can also hear it when people are stressed, like what they're communicating. And that stress also is nothingness. When they're speaking to you and stress is coming out of their mouth, that's okay too. And that also comes from nothingness, but you can hear different energies. Like, and I didn't mean to make myself sound better, and my energy is like pure nothingness. Yeah, but I just, like, you can hear an energy when I'm speaking, if you listen. If you listen. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Even in the boops. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Like, I just love it when she's like this. Boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. No eating the wire. She sometimes gets excited and then eats everything. Doogie doog doog doog. Hee hee. Hee hee. Boopy. Boopy. Well, somebody's not brushed their teeth today. It's not me. I brush my teeth. Okay. Enough of Lisa and Khaleesi's love affair. Only dog dog dog. Only dog dog dog. Only dog dog dog. Only dog dog dog. Only dog. Boop beep boop boop boop. Boop beep boop boop boop. You're not getting your dinner until after the talk. I'm not going to go and leave people and feed you in the middle of my talk. Doobie doop boop boop. Hello, Lisa. I don't listen to the news much, but once in a while I hear a story that hurts my heart. I feel deeply for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. Do you have any words to share on racist crimes? Isn't it important for individuals to stand up against this? I recently heard a non-dual teacher say that God does not know suffering. So where do these hate crimes begin? In the mind? Isn't the mind and God the same, since God is oneness? Yeah. I'll give you an example of my friend had a bird, and the bird was like a rescue bird. It fell into the garden injured, and she was looking after it, and she had it in this cage outside. And eventually she does this every summer, and she eventually lets them go and they fly off. She had the bird outside, and then a big bird came down and ate it. And that is God, that big bird that came down and ate the little bird. And now if you got eaten up, like you were in a racist murder, some black people came along and murdered you, Susan, because you're white. That is actually God killing itself, the divine killing itself. And there's nothing actually that dies, because your energy changes into something else. If you imagine like God like one big sheet, it's like this Susan, and you put your hands as puppets, and this Susan and this other person argued, and then Susan got killed and disappeared, and then another puppet came up. It's the same energy that would come up. So there's nothing actually that ever dies. We always fear in our death that we're going to be kicked out of this reality, and we fear that. But there's nothing to be afraid of, because you can't be kicked out of this reality. So on the human level, though, if everybody realized this, I doubt there would be so many murders. I can't guarantee that, though, because humans are still destined to argue. We're still animals. But I really doubt there would be like racist murders. Like I mean, maybe some people could get into a fight, but I don't know. I can't imagine what it's like. So if people will realize this, but animals realize this, animals are this, and they still kill each other. We are animals as well. But the game to this life is for it to continuously evolve. And I think the game in awakening is to really see this. Like see beyond our urge for fairness or rightness or good or bad, or innocence or not innocence. They see that it's all not true, that there's no perpetrator and no victim. That's so hard, right? Because we want to protect ourselves from badness, and we want to stop it happening. And we can on the human level, but on the absolute level, which is what I'm talking on now, that God is perfectly content with everything it creates. It loves it all, every element of it. And then we can go into the human world and we can say it's unfair and we can protest against it and we can try to change things and laws. But I get the sense with politics and changing laws that unless people wake up, we'll just do the same. We just go from left to right to left to right to left to right. And sanction this and sanction that. And these people have control and those people get control. I really believe that you have to change society's mind. Like our society will change with the individual's mind changing. So the way we structure our society will change as the people that are in society's mind change. So as they begin to awaken. So to me, I would see his murder, Abdi, as a tragedy. But that we all just work on ourself, this body-mind mechanism that's appeared, and going beyond that, and that will have more political effect than going out and protesting on the streets. It's like the biggest activism that you can do. I mean, if Google really realized, like, they don't let me mention certain things because I get barred by YouTube if I mention certain things, or you do certain things and you've got all these policies that you have to uphold. But if it really realized that this totally undermines all political structures, because our society is based on this idea that you will fulfill yourself through the material world, and this is a lie. And it's based on distrust. Okay. Mostly I come to a loss with how to find peace with the negative in the world, which is why I don't watch much news and focusing on love. And the negative in the world, like the news, it's all based on separation, and it's relevant to see the fear and the suffering that comes up in you, but like what you've got to see is that all of it's illusion. It's not true, all these fearful things out there that are going to get you or get them. It's not true, all these problems that we're projecting onto society. It's all a disbalance of the chakra and then a seeking to avoid that. So you feel fearful about other humans and about society. There's disbalance in the sacral chakra, in the solar plexus chakra, in the heart. And then you seek to try to change society, to try and change your environment. When really it's seeing that these chakras are illusion and that nothing can hurt you. Home is presence. Home is what you are right now. That's beauty. Hi Radul, welcome. Hi Michaela, thank you for your answer. Can you say something about flip-flopping from thinking to peace of mind? Why does this happen and how long can it go till a peace of mind remains? So flip-flopping is the this changing between the opening, the expansion to what you are, this energetic expansion, and then this contraction to being a limited person. And when you contract, you believe that your stories and that you are real. And then you act from that. And then when you open, most of the time people think I'm opening because of a story. But actually it's you're opening because you're expanding back into what you are, which is everything. So most people think that they're happy because of what's happening in life. But actually it's because you're expanding and you're less contracted. You're feeling less separate from everything. So just notice that the next time you're happy, you'll feel that your boundaries are less defined. And the next time that you suffer, you feel that your boundaries are very defined and you feel small and very much asserted inside the body-mind. Thank you. The teacher who told me the term pranya paramita also said this is the womb of all creation. But remember, pranya paramita is love, and I am is the love. And they have to sit together, the emptiness and the everything, to really know self. Udil. Is there anyone else that wants to call? Mr. Nobody does, but I'm reluctant to speak to somebody that's calling themselves Mr. Nobody. I'm sorry to be judgmental, Mr. Nobody. But I'm concerned that I'm going to get a lecture on how to be a teacher. I've done this for so long, these talks. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe you're just trying to hide your identity. Maybe Mr. Nobody, just so I can vet the call a little bit, maybe you could say what you would like to speak about. Hi Lisa. Funny story, I went the other week to have a chat with a friend who is a yoga teacher and ended talking about non-duality. So the discussion led to the personal doer-ship and meaning in life. After she heard me saying that it does not matter and they don't really exist except in the mind, she stopped talking to me. Now, the separate self really does not want to hear this though. Yeah, but were you preaching at her? Like, like it might be that that's why she stopped speaking to you. And if your energy was pure, it could be that reason. But if your energy was preaching at her and in any way wanted to dominate her or be right, then really it could have been that that's what was happening. There was like an undercurrent energy of the conversation. Because why do you bother speaking to people that aren't interested in it? But it could be that. Hi Klaus. Hi Lisa. What is the difference between a dual life and a non-dual life? I presume the difference between a dual life and a non-dual life is that a dual life is a life where somebody believes in separation. So it's just a belief. So really you could say all life is non-dual, but then you get humans that believe that life is dual. And then when there's a shift from that perspective, then you maybe could call it a non-dual life. But I don't know, I don't use those terms. I'm just commenting on what you say. Hi. Maria wants to say hi. Could you call? Okay, Maria. Hello.
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 Put this in your ears.
Okay.
The
microphone on
Yeah.
the right.
Hello.
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 I don't know how to do it.
I can hear.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. This might go into loop, so I think that you have to like turn the volume off on YouTube, like I'm speaking to you through Skype.
You're okay. I hear you just saying that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
Now, my husband's talked to you a few times. I'm not techie, so this is all exciting on so many levels.
Yeah. Nice.
But I just want to say, oh my gosh, we've listened to you a lot, and things that I've struggled with about that we don't have will, and even something else today. It all made sense just today.
Oh, nice.
But what I'm thinking about so much that keeps interrupting is what whoever spoke earlier or wrote you that beautiful thing. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. He's like a poet.
Yeah.
How he or she, I don't know who it was.
I think it was
what they
he.
said.
Yeah,
I
I know who you meant. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like, I'm not like I feel like I need to tell you what to do, but you should print that on beautiful paper and hang it so you can see it. Oh gosh, it was so wonderful.
Yeah, it was really lovely.
But he spoke for me because I felt that so
Yeah.
many times. So thank you for doing that.
It's a pleasure.
For me, because you've done that so many times. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Like I think that's the main reason that I speak. It's the main reason that I write as well. Like I also write. I write fiction, and it's really that what my heart wants to do is communicate love. Like that's really like what it feels like in my body. It's like when I'm speaking, like really that's what it wants to do. It's not so much about the words. It's about that love of what we all are. Like in every moment.
Right. But you do have a way of explaining it with words.
Yeah.
And that is so valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I did want to ask you, is it a child's book that you're writing?
I think it's for like late teens and adults, most probably.
Oh,
maybe
wonderful.
a little bit complicated for teens, but
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful though. Oh, wonderful. I can't wait to get it and read it when you're done.
Nice. Yeah, I love doing it. I really love it. It's like a act of love. Like it's really like I just give it with all my heart.
So no wonder you're absorbed in it.
Yeah.
Because that must just feel so good to be doing that all the time.
Yeah, it is really beautiful. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating, like when you're writing a whole novel. It's big, but it's most of the time really, really beautiful. I just love it, like every detail. I love putting that's my favorite part, is the detail of this life, like the way, because it's from a cat's perspective, like the way the cat sees the world, and it's so like everybody's view of this life is so unique. The little details, like the way the hand moves across the sofa, or the way the light pours into the room, or the smells. But this is my favorite part about writing fiction. Or the feeling of the cat's coat, or the feeling of the paws walking across a tarmac floor.
Right. So it is like explaining being present.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the whole book's about. But it's in fiction, it's in code, so nobody really knows.
Yes. That's brilliant, though. That's brilliant.
And
Aw.
but if somebody that's into non-duality or into this subject, then they would connect to it straight away. But if somebody that's
Oh,
not,
they would.
they just they wouldn't know, but they'd maybe get a taste of it.
Right. Right. They would think, oh, this is Dixonian, so descriptive,
Yeah,
which is beautiful too, right? Maybe that's why he was such a sought after individual, because we
yeah,
were feeling presence
yeah,
or
yeah,
getting that message
yeah,
inadvertently, you know? Who knows?
yeah. I think that's what
Ah,
the best art does, like music or
yeah,
paintings, is it gives you that moment of wonder.
yes, yeah. Speaking of, I've always wanted to be, oh, if I could be anything, I'd love to be a musician. I can't sing a note, I can't play an instrument, but I love to dance. And I kind of thought, that's what it is. It's like my
Yeah,
body's like the instrument, and I'm just
yeah, yeah. That's
music's
beautiful.
moving me, man,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
okay too, right?
yeah,
Even though I can't make a living on it or can't be in a band, but
yeah.
I can be a rock star in my living room, which I've done. I finally got it right.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Oh,
you could become something like a five rhythms teacher. Have you ever heard of five rhythms?
no,
It's
of what rhythm?
it's called
What did you
five
say?
rhythms, and it's
Five, like the number five?
yeah, five rhythms, and it was
Oh
invented
my
by
God.
a lady called Gabriel Roth. I think that's her name, Gabriel Roth, and it takes you through these different rhythms. I can't remember all the different rhythms, and it's basically you kind of let the music guide you. Like so you're kind of expressing the music. You're not dancing what you want to dance. You're dancing the music, and it takes you
Oh,
through these different rhythms and these different journeys. And I used to love it. I used to do it when I lived in London every Saturday night, and there'd be like 200 people in this massive hall, and it was no drugs, no drink, and you didn't socialize. You just went in there and danced, and
oh,
let the music dance you. I loved it.
what?
And
Oh, that
there's another
sounds.
thing called so there's five rhythms, and there's another, maybe it's called bio dance or something. I forgot them,
Oh,
or I forget this other technique as well. And I love that type of thing. It's not, they don't have that
oh,
where I live currently, but I love going to those types of
right.
things.
I'm going to look up that other thing. And you know, one time I went to a workshop and the woman there was amazing. And it was called Authentic Movement. And
Yeah,
that was amazing. And that was, you did it with eyes closed and usually with the
yeah,
witness, but you kind of move through a meditation. Like you can even pose a question and then move. No
yeah.
music, though.
Oh, okay.
And that was really cool too. But I love this five rhythms. It's
Yeah,
exactly what's happening.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
but I do just want to thank you. I think I did have questions. I was nervous to even call, but I'm glad my husband sort of said, yeah. And then I was going, yeah, I want to. But I did.
And then I
I
did
do
it.
just want. I bet I did it. It's a real revolution. But you know, it is really true about the things about the story. I'm really seeing that it's
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
And even attachment, that attachment and seeking is the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, totally.
It it's so wild. And
Yeah,
a lot just became clear just from all the wonderful people who were asking good questions, and also how you're able to answer them. So thank you
oh,
so
nice.
much. I
Oh,
don't
it's
want to
a
take up any more
pleasure.
time because
Oh,
someone
it's
else might
really lovely.
have another wonderful question to ask. So
Yeah, it's
thank
really
you.
lovely to speak to
And I
you.
get to look up five rhythms. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I think that you'll
And
really enjoy that.
and a side note, I want to be a writer too, and I've been writing.
Oh, yeah,
So it's so beautiful to get into that art
yeah, I
and
love
the
it.
whole language. And
Yeah,
I'm going to re-listen to what you said about how you're writing, and it's just love in
yeah,
every moment while you're doing it.
yeah.
Good luck.
Nice. Thank you. And say hello to Michael.
I will. I will.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Lots of love.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, sweet. Tick, 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 tick. Oh, that's sweet. Okay. Here Who next? We've got another 5 minutes of talk. I don't want to over talk for you guys or for myself. Hello, Lisa. What is your view on the concept of hell as an altar and as an afterlife location or state? I think that hell is the mind, and there is no after state. There is this, and hell appears as the mind. That's what I think. Hi, Mikey. I know, I forget this name. It's a Dutch name, I think. I forget how to say it. Mikey. Hi, Lisa. It seems to be much easier to live in alignment with presence when life is very calm and balanced. I don't know if this is the right way to go or if I am just oversensitive to everything, and especially living in a German city. Thank you for your insights. Hi, Lisa. It seems to, yeah, I think there can be people that are very sensitive to things, but nothing is your unhappiness. So even if you're sensitive to things, that's not your unhappiness. That's not your suffering. Your suffering comes when the belief is that those sensitivities, those discomfort take away presence, and nothing takes away presence. Your home is here. What you look for is here. What you want is here. And then the mind begins to build all these constructs and these stories about itself. That I can't live in a German city. Or have to live in nature. Whatever concept to me, it builds. And the key to it is that nothing is found in the flow of life to give you freedom. Nothing. Nothing is the answer. And that's happening right here, right now. Hi, Monique. Hi, Lisa. Somebody really wants to do. Do you know which chakra is connected with sensations between the shoulder blades? There are usually feelings of fear happening when I feel sensation there. And what can help to bring peace in that area? Thanks. It can be many different things. So you can massage it and begin to explore, but I would say maybe explore the throat and the heart. Chakras. The throat is not communicating, not saying what you want, not expressing what you want in the negative. And the heart is feeling abandoned by life, feeling rejected by people, feeling like you've got nothing to give, feeling alone. Okay, that's enough. Oh, Mr. Nobody, when I accused him of being a teacher, well, you're wrong, just wanted to call in. I hope that you'll say something that will shake this structure and break this awfully strong shell. Mr. Nobody is here to hide my real name. Basically, I wanted you to be cruel, and you did it even before the conversation. And I feel that you're energy teacher, so I'm just a seeker, hoping someone or something will happen and push me out of the illusion. And you're booked for like the next 5 years for individual sessions. Hey, Mr. Nobody. I'm sorry if I got that. I think that a few years back, there was somebody called Mr. Nobody that really went after me on like social media, and like started spreading lots of lies and stuff. So I think when I saw that name, I was like, just so happens that you called yourself that. It might have been somebody else, I forget. Yeah. Yeah, I am booked. if you want, you can send me an email and I'll put you on my waiting list, which often I end up being able to find a spot for people. I haven't got that many people on my waiting list because I just cancelled my retreat. So it's a small waiting list now. But yeah, it's amazing how far I am booked. It really touches me. It's really beautiful. That I'm booked so far, because I feel like it's very hard to communicate this subject, and I feel like when I do one-to-one sessions with people, not necessarily, there's a part of me that never wants to advertise these types of things. Like, I want you to come to it naturally without me like giving a big song and dance about it. And so now if I say this, it's like an advertisement for my sessions, but just without it being an advertisement to you, it just touches me, because I feel like sometimes in the sessions, like I really speak with people beyond the self, and that really is beautiful when people feel that and book sessions. But now I've done a big advertisement. I never really advertise what I do, because I always feel like I want people to come to it, but I'm not actually against advertisement. I think that the speakers that advertise, and that's really beautiful that they push their stuff out there, because this stuff is really hidden in society. But it's just my feeling, it's just this feminine energy that has that, this body-mind mechanism. But anyway, Mr. Nobody, I'm happy that you got what you wanted. You wanted a whipping, and you got a whipping. And now I shall vamoose and feed my dog, who is very cute and has been pacing for her dinner for a little while now and giving me the cutesy wootsies. Okay, goodbye everybody. I see you next Sunday. I wish you everything. Lots of love. Goodbye.